A solemn ceremony on the floor of the U.S. Senate, something seen just twice before in our nation's history. Chief Justice John Roberts sworn in, as well as nearly 100 senators who one by one signed a pledge vowing to do impartial justice during the impeachment trial of President Trump, which begins on Tuesday. And welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm Anne Trujillo. First-term Colorado Congressman Jason Crow is one of the 7 impeachment managers during that trial, arguing the case against the president. And Crow, who is a lawyer and served in the military as an Army Ranger, told Denver 7 in a statement, "It's my solemn responsibility to lay out the facts and give the Senate and the American people confidence in the process." Well, the trial begins after the long holiday break, and President Trump, who is lining up his own legal team right now, maintains he did nothing wrong. You can be sure to count on us for complete coverage of this historic event. Now, of the people who want to be the nation's next president, 6 Democrats, they took the stage in Iowa on Tuesday night, the last debate before next month's Iowa caucus. And they discussed the upcoming impeachment trial, along with ongoing tensions in the Middle East and health care. The candidates also tackled the elephant in the room, reports that Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren in 2018 that a woman could not win the election, something he denied during the debate, which led to an awkward post-debate moment.
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. And I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on this.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. You called me, you told me. All right, let's not do it now.
Oh, a little testy, would you say? Well, just over 7 million people watched that debate, and among them, Denver Post columnist Krista Kafer and Democratic strategist Steve Welchert. And thank you both for being here to talk all this and more. So that really was the last debate before Iowa. So how did they do?
Well, you know, I've had a really tough time getting back into my sleep pattern after the holidays, and this debate put me right to sleep and fixed all that right away. The worst debate of the entire season, for a couple reasons. One, they were a little tired. You could tell they were all tired. 2, the top 4 are all clustered together within margin of error on the poll, and so you don't want to make any mistakes. You don't want to screw it up. Don't change things in the last.
So they played it safe.
They played it safe. Yeah. And then 3, I think, remember, if you're a Colorado voter, you've been to a caucus probably if you're a Democrat or Republican, and the same rules apply in Iowa now. If you don't get 15% threshold, you want to go get those votes and bring them over to your team to get more delegates inside of a caucus on that night. And so you don't want to make anybody mad. You know, why make anybody cranky? You know, if you're Klobuchar and you want to go get Biden delegates or vice versa, you know, you don't want to get personal, you know, right before the caucus.
So they played it safe. What do you think?
Although it did get a little bit personal with
those
Warren and
two
Sanders.
That post debate.
Exactly.
Yes.
The I'm not going to shake your hand. But I also think that CNN sort of egged them on a little bit. It was the only thing I found particularly interesting about the debate. I'm glad they're over. That way I don't have to watch them anymore. I will say this, though, is that
there'll be more coming, by the way. But,
no,
yeah.
right. But Biden and Buttigieg have shown just how far left they are. I mean, these guys, the only thing moderate about them is their branding. And here's the deal. The American people aren't that far left. These guys are to the left of, and they're supposedly the moderates of Obama when it comes to things like socialized medicine, support for late-term abortion, support for the Green New Deal. I just don't think that that's going to fly. Now, President Trump, not a good guy, not a good man at all, but the policies, the roaring economy, people are behind that. People are not as left as the Democratic Party has gone, and I think that these debates have
is that dangerous that there's no standout for the Democrats?
Exactly.
Well, I think they're not as left as Sanders and Warren, the Democratic Party, or Biden and Buttigieg for that matter. I think there'll be a more center lane, and as everyone does, both parties do this, they'll tack back to the middle for the general election.
But will people believe it? I mean, I'm not going to believe it if Biden's
but
like,
people aren't really watching these.
This
This
isn't a policy election. This is a referendum on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so if you're Biden or Buttigieg and you're up against Donald Trump, it's a very different conversation than a policy.
But policies matter, and I think people understand
they
that.
don't matter to Donald Trump.
No, well, I don't know anyone that actually likes him. He's not a good man, right? But
And
the
he
policies
doesn't care about
have shown fruit. I mean, whether we've got a new trade deal with China, a new NAFTA, we've got a roaring economy, things are going well, and I think that matters. Character matters, but so does policy.
Yeah,
Let's get backtrack a little bit and get back to Jason Crow. Why do you think he was chosen to be part of this team?
I think it's fascinating. First of all, he's a freshman member of Congress
Right.
in a swing seat, so a little bit of vulnerability here for him and to take this on. But because he's a freshman, he's part kind of a security caucus member. A lot of freshmen were veterans in the past. And so he represents that group, I think, and he's a lawyer and can do this job really well.
Well, I think he might regret it, though. And I'm having these flashbacks because I was a congressional staffer back during the Clinton impeachment. And a lot of the managers, they did their due diligence. They thought the American public was behind them. We certainly did as Republican staffers. But in the end, some of them lost their election. I'm not sure that anyone really wants to be in that position in the end.
Let's talk about the senators who now have to focus on the impeachment, get away from the campaign. Yeah. Is that going to hurt them in any way? What do you think?
Well, the ones who are running for the nomination,
Right.
this is going to cost them. It really is. I mean, if you're those four that are back in D.C.,
Right.
where Buttigieg and Biden can run through Iowa and New Hampshire
whatever they want, sure.
unencumbered, that's going to be a challenge. It really is. And that'll cost them some seats and some votes. And I think the Warren-Sanders fight is bad for both of them. And it was a pure put on by Warren, in my view. It's a 2-year-old conversation. And who 2 years ago wouldn't have said, oh, gosh, can a woman really win? Is that possible after the Hillary Clinton meltdown? So, it's a reasonable conversation to have. Smart people ought to have it. And I really don't think he said a woman can't win. I just think Elizabeth Warren really.
It doesn't look good, though. It doesn't look good. It didn't look good that night. And I think it splits the party a bit. And I think that's unfortunate, although largely a good thing.
Splits a wing of the party, let's put it that way. Yeah.
Okay, so who's going to be able to break out here now that we have Iowa coming up and then?
Do you think Klobuchar can break out? I mean, she's sensible. She's a little bit more in line with the moderate part of the Democratic Party.
Well, if she doesn't make a really big move in Iowa, she's probably going to be off the stage coming forward because she's from neighboring Minnesota. She really has to make a mark here.
Right.
Win at least a lot of those northern counties up across the top, the Fort Dodges, Mason City, Sioux Cities up along the border. If she can do that, she'll have some fun. If Biden, however, wins this thing, which is possible, then the race is essentially over. Then you go to New Hampshire doesn't count because Senator Warren and Sanders are next door neighbors. You go to South Carolina, which Biden has wrapped up, and Nevada's kind of all that's left before Super Tuesday here in Colorado.
Who does he pick as a vice president? Because if he goes with Buttigieg, it sends the signal of we're all about white guys, and there's no women, there's no people of color. They've since dropped out of the race. I don't think it looks good for a party that says they're a champion of women and people of color.
Yeah, we're way ahead of that, and I suspect that problem will get solved pretty easily.
Well, that was not solved on this stage, where there were concerns about people of color on that debate stage.
It's disconcerting. I mean, for a party that champions that, and I think it could have an effect come November.
You're talking about the party that selected a 2-term black president? I don't think it's a problem, frankly. No. Sorry.
We will see what shakes up. All right, we literally have 30 seconds left. Any final comments you want to make before we let you two go?
Well, again, the only redeeming value of that entire debate was Joe Biden's closing argument, which has been his closing argument for 6 months, which is good, but that's all you have to take away if you're an Iowa voter.
I think it's just more of the same. And if you ask the average person if they really care what happened on that stage, or if they care what's happening in this impeachment trial, I think they would just say,
well,
impeachment's going to kick
we'll
out.
see what
That's
happens this week. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. All right, Krista, Kafer, and Steve Welchert, thank you so much. Back in a moment.
I'm wearing this jacket again.